Don't got a reason to lie. They gave me the key to the stop, but I'd rather open my eyes, cause that's what don't keep me alive. Something that sits in my mind. They do not fuck up my day. Everybody want a headline. I don't got nothing to say, except I'm coming back with the freshness. You know I love making an entrance. Now, don't get defensive. Time is a matter of seconds. 1, 2, yeah. Out to see the wizard, leave the mix for me and liquor. Evil mixture, demons, glitter, cleaning whiskers. He be Mr. Fisherman. Back on my shit again with my own dance. Feel the rhythm, there's no hands. I tell you vision like programs. Busy living on triple digits, young old man. Y'all dead wrong. I'm up with the echelon, so thunder with the bread long. I'm going strong in my head gone, in my head gone. Yeah, floating back on the scene, I'm saying hello. Do my thing, I'm pulling straight like Tom Morello. I keep it moving, could be doing way too much. I ain't telling time, just tell you when it's up. Yeah. I'm only keeping good company. I am not talking to you if you don't have love for me. Yeah. One for you and one for me. I am not talking to you if you don't have love for me. I mean, wow, do not touch that dial. I waited a while, been around just like word of mouth. You gon' hear me out, and I put that on my house. I'm always going overboard. I better swim before I drown. I'm like rubber with the bounce, 100 beat the count, drumming loud as thunder with the sounds. Yeah. I was young, fuck around, every summer wild, always had it jumping at the house. Yeah, clapping for y'all, I'm in it, having it all, feeling like Shaq with the cup, stature is tall, rolling around with the homies, a battery pack with my dog, fuck with my thoughts, having enough in a lot, putting the check in the box, straight to the top. It don't matter, never mind the pattern when you taking a shot. Enough of the bullshit, enough of the bullshit. Enough of the extras, fuck up my money, I swear I've been throwing. Fuck all the losing, that's just an illusion. Gotta keep this coming back for more than keep it moving. Yeah, I'm only keeping good company. I am not talking to you if you don't have love for me. Yeah, one for you and one for me. I am not talking to you if you don't have love for me. Follow me another way. You know you better stand, goddamn, put your hands together. Everybody got money, get the band together. Moving like you can't stand the weather, but it ain't gonna rain always.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. RIP to our good friend Mac Miller, gone far too soon. Well, shout out to him. Welcome, week 2, Commissioner's Report. Hope you enjoyed the little intro, your little previews. But on this episode, we've got a week 1 recap, a week 2 preview, and then we look ahead to what we've got in store for the weekend. So, without further ado, a little week 1 recap. Nino, after week 1 with 145 points scored, he's at the top of the board. I'm coming in at second with 140. Technically, if you combine points for and points against and you look at the difference, I should be number 1, but I'll let Nino have it for this week. He won't be up there for very long. Boomer, Evan also taking care of business, getting a win. Hunter, Lev still sitting in the basement with 70-point performance for both of them last week. That is not going to cut it. In the junior varsity, Sebastian and Greg, the lone duo, the roommates. Hey, look at that. There might be a little collusion going on there, but the roommates both getting a win in week 1. Greg not drafting his team. Sebastian probably not putting very much effort into this team, but I think he's in like 5 leagues. But hey, Seb, 1-0. Well done. Brent, Andy, Dan, Botch, step it up. Although Brent and Andrew both scoring, Andrew almost scoring 120, Brent getting 130. You guys just got unlucky. That's a winning score in any other week, but it's week 2. Time to move on. Looking at the game of the week results, my first pick in getting Evan over Levinson was right, 100.4 to 73.7. Evan took care of business in large part thanks to Mr. Todd Gurley. My second game, however, did not go as well. Sebastian came back thanks to a miraculous performance from Mr. Aaron Rodgers in the Sunday night game, and came back to beat Dan 112.3 to 107. I'm 1-1 on the year. For week 2, we've got Andrew taking on Bills Mafia. Nino, 1-0. He's top dog right now. Can Andrew's team put together 2 weeks over 100 points? He had Alex Collins last night. If we look at the projected scores, Nino 107.9, Andrew 97.1. So therefore, I'm going to trust the computer and pick Nino in this game. Sorry, buddy, but 10-point swing is too much. Second game, rivalry game. Sebastian taking on Evan. Now, not only is Sebastian 1-0, but he's been talking a lot of shit about Evan behind his back. Like so much shit that should be in the group me. It should be out in the open for everyone else to see and take part of. But hey, if I've got to stir that pot a little bit, if I've got to spark a little flame to ignite that rivalry again, God, that is my job as commissioner of this league to make sure that happens. So in this game, getting to this game, let's see. Who is projected to win? We've got Sebastian Brogan, projected total 104.1. Evan, projected total 108.4. There is a reason why Evan has 2 stars next to his name, and that's because he's a champion. He knows how to get the wins in the big weeks, and I think this is another week where he gets that win. Evan going to 2-0, so my 2 picks, Nino and Evan, the 2 favorites. Shocking. Trade alert. Am I the only one who saw this happen and took notice of this shit? Boomer, in a sneaky fucking move, excuse me, Jesus. Boomer trying to place himself comfortably in the running for commissioner or general manager of the year. There's only one commissioner of the year. It's this guy. But general manager of the year by acquiring the number 1 ranked position player, Tyreek Hill, from Dan, in exchange for Julio Jones, the number 8 ranked wide receiver. Now, Dan had an abundance of wide receivers. He drafted Tyreek Hill. He has DeAndre Hopkins. He has Keenan Allen. And he gave up Tyreek. I mean, on the surface value, I would say it's a fairly even trade. But to give up on Tyreek so early in the season, Dan, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, there's a reason why Boomer's 1-0 and Dan's 0-1. And that's all I'll have to say about that. But yeah, there was a trade. And that brings us to player of the week. Tyreek Hill, 260 total yards, 3 touchdowns with a total points accumulated of 38.8. As I just mentioned, Boomer acquired Mr. Hill earlier last week, and he was a quick hitter to get Boomer a win. All right, jump into the boys. Jump into the Qs. I know a lot of you are talking about getting up there. Seb already focusing on basketball season. We're undefeated in football, man. It's football season. Let's focus on the football team, huh? All right? All right. We beat Wagner 62-10. I think the line was 40-something points, so cheers on us. But this week is a little bit of a different story. We've got 1-1 Florida State coming into the Dome, and they're favored by 3. Game is tomorrow at noon. I'm sure either on the ACC network or on ESPNU or something, but this is a big fucking game. Florida State, I watched them against Virginia Tech. I don't think they're that good. I don't like this new coach, Willie Taggart from Oregon. I think he's a lot of fluff and not much substance, like a lot of those guys are. But this Francois guy, he's no Jameis Winston. They don't have any real Jalen Ramsey types. Their offensive line is absolutely terrible. And so in the Dome, they're going to be likely to get jumpy. I mean, a noon start too, and they're traveling, meaning they're flying up out of this hurricane. Whew. Cuse might roll them. I definitely like them and just straight up pick them, but I think it's disrespectful that they don't have 2-0 Cuse after 2 impressive wins over a prestigious Wagner school and Western Michigan, who gave Michigan, I think, a run for their money last week. But all right, Cuse, taking them tomorrow. Turn on the game. Make sure you're watching. This is a fun year. Okay. On this week's episode of The Inferno, or part of the episode, we've got Get to Know by Cosmos Midnight. Evan Homewater, if you don't enjoy this song, then I don't know what's your style anymore, brother. But here is Get to Know. Nino, I hope you enjoy it.
I'm gonna say something about you. Went to, but I withdrew. I wanna make you bend like a bamboo. Can't move, but they can't choose you. Can't say what I wanted to say. If I did, then I would have. Cause I wanna make you bend, but it falls on you. Better wait till you know. What's the deal now? I can make you feel like you feel when I see you. I can make you feel as though you wanna see me go. I can't hesitate.
Ooh.
I wanna put it on your plate. It's something about your body, baby. You can be my everything. I could make a day love to for you. I had 2 plans and they don't go through. One hand and the never came to. I'm looking face in the can suit. It's the real love. And you can't even stand by me. But I can see it now whereby we. Maybe I was right in saying night and day and you and I love you, the topic, be the scholar. We can be the one to make it ever. But for now, I can't imagine. I just wanna hold you once. Be the only one you want. I just wanna hold you once. Hold you once. What's the deal now? I can make you feel like you feel in the city. I can make you feel the zone. You wanna see me go. I can't hesitate. I wanna put it on your plate. It's something about your body, baby. You can be my everything. I can't hesitate. I wanna put it on your plate. It's something about your body, baby. You can be my everything.
Ooh, Nino. That one's for you, bud. We'll let it ride out. A little repetitive. I will admit, it's a little repetitive, but good. Got great soul to it, right? A little bop. Huh. Ooh. All right. That was Inferno for the week. You can find all the music on Inferno at my Spotify page. I think it's just James Ogden on Spotify, and it's under the playlist The Commish Report. On Fired Up this week, we've got week 1 recap, my picks from last week, my picks for this week, and a little quick hitter on Elon Musk interview from last week. So last week I got, let's see, 2 for 2, 1 dog, one favorite. Just like in my picks for our league, 500 isn't so bad. I broke even, right? Falcons kind of gypped me Thursday night. They didn't do their job. They blew it once again with a chance to win on the final drive, but couldn't get Julio the ball. And so the Eagles start 1-0 and gave me my first L of the week. Titans. I don't know how many of you actually know what happened with that game, but it was pretty odd. It was one of the longer games in NFL history, if not the longest. 1 o'clock kickoff, 8 o'clock something finish. I'm pretty sure it might have been 8:30. But Marcus Mariota got dinged up in that game. Titans end up losing to the Dolphins in Miami and start the year 0-1. Mariota is actually playing this week, surprisingly. I guess his elbow injury wasn't as serious as they thought. But yeah, they let me down. The Rams took care of business in Oakland on Monday night. Sean McVay seemed to have those boys ready to go. And this team is so freaking good, man. If they can stay healthy, this team is 13-3, 12-4 type of caliber. They'll have a couple losses here and there. But no, this team is damn good. As long as they stay healthy and they keep getting Todd Gurley the ball, they'll be all right. The Bengals, a lot of you probably saw this last night as well. The Bengals are good. A.J. Green's pretty damn good. And this defense is pretty damn good. And so not only did they win last week at the Colts, getting me right, they won last night. Moved to 2-0 and sit alone in first place in the AFC North. For this week, I'll make it quick for you. The Jags at home against the Patriots. That defense with Jacksonville is so fucking good. For any of you who watched the Giants game last week and watched any football at all last year, you know how good this defense is. I think the top defensive line, at least in the AFC, the Rams have a very good D-line. But I think the Jags honestly are deeper and better overall than the Rams defensively. Therefore, with the Patriots traveling all the way down to Jacksonville, having to navigate this hurricane, showing up, for an early kick in an area. They don't play Miami well on the road. Boomer can attest to that. And so I don't think they'll play Jacksonville well. Doug Marrone, fascinating dude, but I think he will have the Jaguars ready to go for a 2-0 start, giving the Pats their first loss of the year. Chargers, 9-point favorites on the road in New Era Field, Buffalo, New York, Orchard Park. Nino, Botch, I'm sorry, but your Bills looked worse than Syracuse's defense against Lamar Jackson a few years ago, last week against the Ravens. Nathan Peterman, I don't know if he's worse than Eric Flowers at the sport of football, but it seems like it. It really seems like it. The Bills really showed no hope whatsoever last week against the Ravens. Maybe at home because it's their home opener, they'll get amped up for their fans and Bills Mafia, but the Chargers tend to travel well. I think that offense is pretty damn good, and they'll do any outscoring of Josh Allen that they need to. Josh Allen isn't going to impress an NFL caliber defense like the Los Angeles Chargers the same way a Sam Darnold might, the same way a Baker Mayfield might. Josh Allen's going to miss a lot of open throws. He's going to bail out a lot of Chargers mistakes, and I think that Phillip Rivers will capitalize on all of those missed opportunities for the Bills. So take the Chargers. Seahawks, Bears. Bears at home, Monday Night Football. Their home opener. Tough loss last week on the road in Green Bay. Very hard-fought game. I really liked this Bears team. Trubisky looked great the first half. I think Nagy, with another week of preparation and development for Mitch, it's going to help him out. He's going to be inching along the way to being a serviceable quarterback. Like we saw with Matt Stafford last week, it doesn't take a lot for these quarterbacks to look bad on any given Sunday. And so I think the same thing applies with Mitchell Trubisky in that he's prone for mistakes because he's going to try and fit the ball into tight windows that might not be there. And the only way you learn not to do that is to make those mistakes in the first place. And I don't think he's made enough of them yet, but I still like the Bears in this game to take care of business against the Seahawks, although they do have 11 players with, I don't want to do the math with the arms, but this is Shaquem Griffin is playing, the dude with the half arm. He starts on that defense. It's a great story. I recommend you watch the game on Monday night. I'm sure Tessitore will talk all about it. Lastly, if I picked Syracuse to beat Florida State, I'm going to roll with my Giants to beat Dallas on the road, Sunday Night Football. All you Eagles fans probably hate this game because all it is a bunch of annoying Giants fans complaining and annoying Cowboys fans complaining. But I don't think we know that many Cowboys fans, and I'm not annoying, right? So Giants in this game heading to Dallas. Dallas seems like they're being torn apart. in terms of their own media criticizing Dak Prescott, saying they don't have any weapons for him to get the ball to, saying he's not that good of a quarterback. There's a lot of drama surrounding this game. Both teams need the win. I've got to roll with the Giants. I'm not going to pick against them, and I honestly like this pick. My own biases removed. All right. Lastly, for those of you who watched Elon Musk's interview with Joe Rogan last week on the Joe Rogan Experience, it's his podcast. I highly recommend it if you've never given it a listen. But Elon Musk basically took a rip from a blunt, and then that picture of him smoking and inhaling, like the quizzical look, that went viral, became a meme. Tesla's stock prices plummeted the following day, and his two top executives, one HR, and then I think his chief financial officer, stepped down after only being on the job for 2 months. And so the dude's coming under a lot of heat for something that I think is his way of trying to extend, an olive branch for help. Maybe, I don't know. He's interacting a lot more with the media in different ways, using different platforms, and I think this interview was one of those examples of him doing that. But the dude's getting a bad rap. So here's Neil deGrasse Tyson defending why Elon maybe needed to be a little bit wiser with his choice, but shit, I fucked it up. Meditations with Jim doesn't come for another couple of weeks. That's gonna be a good one though. Ask Greg and Hunter.
People are very divided on Elon Musk right now. I was wondering what your take is on the matter, and is he capable?
Can they leave him alone?
This dude is such a dork.
Oh yeah, let the man. He's got to obey the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? Let's listen to that again.
Get high if he wants to get high.
Oh yeah. Matter, and is he capable?
Can they leave him alone? Let the man get high if he wants to get high.
Oh yeah.
All right, we don't need to listen to anything more from that because that's the most valuable part of that interview. As you can see, Neil deGrasse supports it. He condones it. Give that interview a listen. I highly recommend it. Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, but just wanted to fill you in on a little bit of what I've been, I guess, consumed by. What's Trump doing these days, Andrew? I'm sure he's still fucking up D.C. in more ways than we can ever fix. Love him, though, right, Greg? Hey, New Jersey 45ers, this is an unbiased report. Just figured I'd defend my boy Elon for all of you. So, for today, we recapped it. I'm going with the Chargers, the Giants, the Bears, and Jags in my 4 picks. I'm also picking Nino and Evan to win. And I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. This has been another episode of the Commissioner's Report. Thank you for listening. I'll let Mac take us out.